Here we go again, you think by now I'd know better. Locked in my head, romanticizing forever.
Hey guys, Katie here with For the Love of Leftovers. I have a whole lot of things to do today. We've got to do things like make a whole bunch of chicken. We've got to run out and do some errands. We have to get this place cleaned up. And we have a whole lot of baking to do. I don't know as if all of it is going to be in this one video, but it's definitely on my mental to-do list, so we need to start getting the things done, okay? So you're going to hang out with me as we do it. First thing to do is get this studio cleaned up a little bit so that I can get my second table in here and get some chicken pulled and get that thawing so that we can cook it. Okay, crazy or not, here's all the chicken we're going to be processing probably tonight by the time it gets all thawed out. It is noontime now, and I can start processing with my Instant Pot, which I might do just to kind of get things rolling. But I do want to actually oven bake quite a few of these. So I have 13 whole chickens here, and then I have 5 bags of drumsticks, and then I have six leg quarters, full leg quarters. So lots of variation of meat here. I can make stock with the bones from all these things. So I think I need to designate a bowl or a bag for just the bones. So I think I'm going to use my big Mama Jamma bowl. We'll give that a quick wash and then use that for any of the bones and things like that, and that can just sit in the freezer until I'm ready to start processing stock. I still have a little bit of cleaning up in here to do, so I wanted to get those out so that they have time to start thawing. I meant to do it this morning before I went out and ran some errands. Life is what it is. So, all right, we're at least in motion. And so, spoiler alert, this day actually for the next few days, this project ends up being just chicken. As you know, since you clicked on this video based on the thumbnail, we are covering just the chicken aspect in this video. I ended up having 13 whole birds plus multiple packages of thighs, drumsticks, things like that. And I wanted to get them out of my freezer onto the shelf. We needed some chicken stock as it was, and I needed to actually empty out my big freezer in the barn because I am taking part in a community day and baking up a whole lot of goodies to sell at it. So I needed to be able to do this in advance, and I needed the room. I needed the room in my freezer in order to make it happen. So what that meant is I actually had to get all of this food out of that freezer, and I didn't have enough room in my other freezers for it. So that meant we were resulting in canning, in a massive canning project. And when I say massive, I mean like this ended up being a full day, but not just a full day, like multiple days. I had to do it here and there just because of our life and how things are crazy. I wasn't able to just, take 2 days and just devote entirely to this project. My back was not happy about it after the first day, I'll tell you that much. But I needed to get it done. So it ended up being a full day here, and then the next few days was a little bit here, a little bit there, doing some during nap time, doing some while the kids were awake, doing like late nights. It was a long project. But I did end up with a shelf full of cooked chicken and chicken stock and things that we can pull from over the next few weeks to months. Okay, while I have you here, Welcome to my TED Talk. I am going to work on planning some things out as I clean here. And I'm cleaning because I don't get to come down here very often. So anytime I do come down, whether there's a visible mess or not, I like to give everything a nice wipe down. Just get any lingering dust or anything off of the surfaces. And I'll set up my big items. I've got my Instant Pot. We are going to start some things in the Instant Pot. Even maybe just the drumsticks. Because my family doesn't like drumsticks, so I'm not going to cook them as drumsticks. But I will cook them for the meat and to be able to separate the bones. And I can do that while they're frozen in the Instant Pot. So some things that I have on my list. I need to put together a list of things that I'm going to be making for an upcoming community days. It's kind of like a farmer's market, but not. It's for our town, and it's at the end of the month. So I have a few weeks. It's actually September 1st. So I have a few weeks to get things batch made and into the freezer. That way I can have a whole bunch, but not be losing my mind, come August 30th. And I've got a wedding cake and like 400 cupcakes to do that weekend. Either this weekend or the following weekend, I have a baby shower cake that I have to do for someone and a variety pack cheesecake. Like, I've got a whole bunch of stuff going on. So I need to definitely plan out the next few weeks. Plan out this week because this week my husband is home. We have a bunch of doctor's appointments and things like that, which you'll see in my new Suppers and Stories series. So I'm excited for that to come out. But we've got a whole lot going on, so I need to get planning and figuring out what's happening when. See if I can get my life together. Okay, so not only are we going to get food going for my family, but I am also going to photograph this for my website for the Love of Leftovers, where you can get this recipe and a bunch of others for free and printable in a matter of minutes. So we're going to do that. So you can watch me do the whole process, because this is just, part of my life. So welcome to it. Okay, so I was going to use the chicken breast. Turns out chicken breast is bad. So bummer there. But I have 1 leg quarter, 3 thighs, this says. Let's see. It is not defrosted fully yet. That's okay. We're gonna do what we do. All right, this is more leg quarters. Let's see. I'm gonna move this one over. Figuring it out on the fly. Got more leg quarters here. Whole bunch of them. And they're not going to fit on that pan. Okay. And isn't that just the story of life? Sometimes things just don't work out. Even if you plan to the best of your ability, things still just aren't gonna work out. So we just navigate, we switch, we figure it out on the fly. Flying by the seat of my pants most days, if I'm honest. So now I'm trying to gather my thoughts, trying to make my lists. I run off of lists and checklists and things like that. And so in my workspace here, I have this whiteboard where I try and contain my thoughts as it relates to food and things that I need to do for work. And so I was just getting this cleaned off from the last time I worked down here and trying to create a plan for myself. I could feel myself getting frustrated that things already just weren't going to plan and my day was already like half over. So I had to kind of take a minute to regroup and recenter myself. Okay, so far things are not going right. So I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to clean up this area. I'm going to do some research. I'm going to do some planning and try and like calm myself before I get back into it, because what happens is I get into my own head and I get crazy frustrated. Things don't go as I envision it, and then I start stalling and I start spinning. So to try and prevent that from happening, because I don't have time to be spinning and stalling, I'm going to step forward and keep making progress. And one of the things that I need to make progress with and that needs to happen is this area does need to get cleaned up so that I can work and function and think in this space. So that's what we're going to do next. So I have a secret dream of wanting to be a minimalist. Secret dream, and something that I'm not sure that is ever realistically going to happen. I feel like you can only be so minimal when you have so many people living in one space. Because, I mean, this is my area, right? This is my office area of my studio. And even though it's just me in that area and trying to bring in some items that I like, like the pictures and the hanging plant and the mushroom and the bunny, like all those little things, it still feels a little bit chaotic. And then I still have things like lots of wires. I have a lot of tech because I do YouTube. I am a video and food content creator. So there's a whole lot of just wires, a lot of tech constantly surrounding me. And there's not a whole lot of area to be putting in things like shelves or closed shelves, which for me, that would be my personality, is I just don't want to see it. Like, I don't want to see it until I need it. And that just doesn't really work in this space. Everything is exposed. There's no way for me to really make that light on the wall look any prettier. Like, it's where it needs to be and it does what it needs to do. But, oh man, I hate the look of all the chaos, all of the wires. And we've tried that in our own home. The other half of this room is my laundry room and a freezer and a whole bunch of props, a whole bunch of toys that we're storing. Like, it's a mess, guys. It is a mess. So there's not even a way for me to just kind of like put the blinders on. But I do try to make that happen, at least at my desk area, so that I can I try to put the blinders on. I try to have a clear desk, try and give myself just some peace and some area that's just mine, because Lord knows I can't even go to the bathroom by myself. I am just always having an audience. So having a little area of our house that is just my space and everyone just kind of stays out of it for the most part. I mean, they'll come down and hang out with me and whatnot every now and then, but it's like, this is my little area. This whiteboard that I'm cleaning off, I still have yet to use it as intended, but my hopes here is fourth quarter is a big quarter for us food bloggers. It pretty much pays for the rest of the year. And I haven't, been in the place to make as much as I would like to, but my hope is to be putting post-its on here with recipes that I want to create in each of those spaces, because I have post-its that are the perfect size for those spaces, and to be putting up a large amount of content onto For the Love of Leftovers, as well as castironrecipes.com, because that is my main website and what brings in the majority of income to my family. All right, I'm going to start putting these chicken quarters in. See how many we can get. It's okay if they overlap a little bit. I think I'm going to end up doing 2 crock pots of this just so I can get them cooking a little bit quicker. This one has some thighs in it. So I've got 3 leg quarters, 3 thighs. And then this other one is the one that I think I'm going to photograph for the website. And this has 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like 4 or 5. So, alright, I think what I'm going to do is put this one in here also. I'll have to remember to put lotion on my hands tonight because there's going to be a whole lot of washing of hands today. Okay, so this is a really beautiful, easy kind of a recipe. Not a whole lot going on. We're getting a lot of flavor from minimal ingredients, which is just the way I like it. That really helps your budget. Okay, I love sun-dried tomatoes, so I'm going to put in a real hefty amount there. Next we have some artichoke hearts. And I'm going to make sure that I'm getting some of that brine liquid in here with them. I might end up making some artichoke dip later. I have some cream cheese that I can use. Alright. Maybe not. I might end up using all of these in this chicken dish. Okay, so we used a good amount. We still have plenty in there. Like I said, we're going to do double. Lastly, we're going to add in this pesto. Again, loads of flavor. Anytime you can use something like pesto or a salad dressing or something like these artichokes that are brined, that's a whole lot of flavor that's been developed in that one ingredient, right? So using it is going to add a lot of flavor to our dish without having to actually use a lot of it. Thus again, saving you money. So I'm going to put this on low for 6 hours. Just cover it, and I'll probably give it a toss just to get everything coated in a few hours. So I'm setting up my ingredient chart, and so something that I'm keeping in mind is that if I ever want to add text in any of the places on the finished photo, I need to have area around it. The chicken is the main subject. Okay, so the chicken is in the center of the shot, and then I have my secondary ingredients kind of off center. So if you imagine a grid, the rule of thirds, I have this one in my upper corner. I have this one on one of my intersecting lines as well. And then this one is down in a quadrant down here, essentially. And so I'm just kind of visually seeing, I do a lot of things based on just how it looks. I've been asked to teach people before, and I feel like it's a skill that you need to just practice. Okay, I have all of my ingredients on a line, So I want everything directing in this way. I have this askew. Again, just adding kind of that visual interest. I'm going to add in some secondary props that's going to help support our main actor here.
Watch as it breaks down beside us. When we've risked everything for love. On the outside, always looking in. We'll still hold on to all we could have been. To all we could have been.
Okay, I did notice that I need a little something extra in the corner. Just to visually ground it and kind of frame what's going on here. We've got basil, 3 clumps of basil kind of strategically placed, again nodding to the kind of overall flavor. And it also gives that visual just appeal. Green, adding green to pretty much anything really helps. We interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you Hot Husband Fixes Oven.
I see that.
And while we were fixing the stove, or the oven rather, we got Amazon mail. These are things that I'm going to have to use for the baked good sale thing that I'm doing at the end of the month. So I got mini loaf pans, and I have some square boxes, things for single cheesecake slices. This should help me to cut evenly. Gives me a guide for cutting, I should say. I do have some people that ordered full cheesecakes, so I have a few of these. And yeah, more square boxes, using that for lemon squares, tiramisu. Oh, we do have some self-sealing envelope things here that I'm going to use hopefully for whoopie pies. I feel like I'm looking at them now and thinking my whoopie pies are generally a little bit bigger, but we'll see. I might try and make some today as long as my oven works. We will see. Hopefully that was the part causing the issue. We shall see shortly. Alright, let's get back to this so we can get this cooking. I need to move my light back to where it goes. Now I've got that ingredient shot. Now what I'm going to do is get the process shot. So that generally is a bit easier, especially with slow cooker recipes, because there's really just one step in this. So I'm going to lay these out as best I can. Still trying to make it visually appealing. And generally speaking, you want to use, your best crock pot, things like that. I'm not really caring right now, if I'm being honest. Okay, so I'm going to add in all my ingredients here. And because most of my photos are portrait, meaning straight up and down, that's how I'm going to set up my scene here. So I've got some basil down here that's still in the shot, adding to our story. This one up here can't really be seen, so then I need to move it and adjust it a little bit, making sure this center of the crock pot is centered to the frame. And I always try and give the illusion of a full working kitchen, okay? So that's why you'll see a lot of items out of frame or just slightly out of frame. Take a peek at that. All right, now we're ready to actually cook this. All right, I've got 2 of these bags of drumsticks. I think that's all I'm going to be able to fit in here because they are still frozen. That's okay. I've got 2 or 3 bags left. These are going to take just 20-ish minutes in this Instant Pot, and then we can get shredding the chicken. Alright, so I'm just going to do very basic seasoning in here. Garlic, salt, decent amount of it. So I do want it to have some flavor. But there's no telling what we're going to use this for once it's canned, so I don't want to go crazy. But I'm going to do garlic salt, a little bit of pepper, need a cup of water down in the base. And now I'm just going to set this on. I'm going to cook this for 20 minutes on low pressure. I'm going to let it naturally release just because I'm not in a huge rush, but you could do a instant release for this if you needed it quick for dinner. Here we go, look at that. That is most definitely done. When you see the meat pulling away from the bone, you know for sure. Okay, so what I'm going to do is very quickly and easily just transfer all of the meat in this Instant Pot into this bowl. And you could absolutely cover these in like a sauce and put them on a sheet pan in the oven and make, like, you know, actual drumsticks. These are definitely, like, you could pull them apart tender, but at the same time they're actually not like just ripping right off the bone, so that's great. And so this is nice and warm, so what I'm going to do is put in the other batch of chicken drumsticks that I have and get those cooking. And then that'll give these also time to cool down. Once they're cool, I'll start picking off all the meat. My family doesn't oh my gosh, I can't say the word. They don't really care for dark meat, but they will eat it if I put it in something like a chicken noodle soup or a chicken pot pie. My oldest son will demolish it, especially if I do those. So we will make use of this for sure. All right, I'm gonna put in the other batch now. Don't know that I can get all of these in. They're still very frozen. Let's see how many we can get in at a time. Might just be one, or not one, 2. Woo! Yep, don't do that. That just sprayed everywhere. It's the nice thing about having white walls. I can just kind of scrub at it and you can get it clean. You can even use bleach on it and it won't matter. All right, let's see. Do I dare? Let's see if I can get these in. I don't think I'm going to be able to close that. No, I'm not going to be able to close that. So we will just leave that right there. Season these ones. Going to keep doing the same seasoning just for consistency's sake. And that way when we make the broth or the stock from all of these bones, it's going to taste the same. I'm just going to keep those right there since we're going to need them. And I'm just going to wipe this right down. Now I need to switch out my apron because I definitely just wiped raw chicken hands on it. So into the laundry it goes. All right, I'm going to at least get these thighs done. So all I'm gonna do is tear meat off, and I've got some of my bottles soaking right now. And if any of your chicken is a little bit underdone, no big deal because it's gonna cook again as it is pressure canned. It's gonna have to be pressure canned for, I think these are gonna have to be pressure canned for 90 minutes. So I am just stuffing as much of the meat. I'm taking off the skin, taking off the bones. Skin and bones is going into this other bowl. Yeah, a couple of these are definitely underdone, so again, not a big deal. It's all gonna cook. If some skin and tendons end up in the bottle with the meat, don't worry about it. Biggest thing you want to make sure of is that your hands are clean and your bottles are sterile. A little bit of skin ends up in there, or a little piece of bone. You just want to make sure that you're going through the chicken when you go to use it. If you think that there's some bone in there, of course. Make sure to stuff it in as much as you can. Pack it in as much as you can, because there will be air bubbles. So the more you pack it in, the less air bubbles you have. And you'll be amazed. Like, you'll still pack it in, and then after you pressure can it and you see all the liquid, like, you're gonna you're gonna be amazed just how much liquid is generated. You want to fill it up till about this line where the cup starts to tilt in. So give about 1.25 inches of headspace. And so I feel like I need to clarify. When I said to leave it about 1.25 inches of headspace, 1.5 inches, whatever, I meant the chicken. So you really only want to fill the physical chicken to about that part where it curves in on that regular mouth ball canning jar, okay? And then we are going to fill it with either hot water or hot stock. Either way is fine. And this is considered a hot pack. And so you'll want to look at those directions on the food safety website for canning. I'll have that linked for you down below. Things are going to be different whether you're raw packing, hot packing, what elevation you're at, the size jars that you're using. My family needs at least one of these jars every meal, probably more like 2. We usually eat 2 whole chickens anytime I do chicken for dinner. I'm to the point now, thanks to my big boys, that I need to have 2 whole chickens cooked, and that gives us usually a little bit left over for the next day for lunch. So, I mean, I'm pretty much planning that I'm going to need 2 jars anytime I do any type of, anytime I'm pulling this from our shelves to feed to my family. And I did want to take a minute and say thank you and just recognize that there have been a few people that have reached out to me or have commented on some of my videos and have just asked if everything's okay and what's going on, just because I haven't posted a video. And so part of that is because we have just been insanely busy, and I've had multiple videos in the queue. I have so many things that are actually already recorded, and I can't wait to share with you guys. I have just been so backed up with editing, and I just haven't been able to get it together. We're in a time right now that is very much family focused, very hustle. We've had multiple kids, doctor's appointments. We've had, oddly enough, less work coming our way, which has made things really tight, made things stressful. And so, oddly enough, that actually kind of results in less time to work, or we're finding less time to work. I don't know. I'm not sure. The math isn't mathing, you know what I mean? But that's just the reality of it, is we've had so many things going on with our kids, things going on with our home. Like everyone's fine. We're fine. Yes, it's a stressful time. My back has been really, really acting up, probably in large part due to the stress, but like right now I'm dealing with a sciatica issue. So literally anytime I sit down, my back and my legs I have this just shooting pain right in my buttock, and it spreads to my back and my leg, and so it makes it really difficult to sleep at night as well. So all in all, it has just been pretty stressful. We're trying to get our things together for homeschooling. I have a trip in October that we're trying to prepare for, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, like all the ways. And it's just been, it's been stressful, but I do have a lot of really great footage and great videos and great things that I wanted to share with you guys. So I just wanted to say thank you for checking in, because it definitely has been stressful, but you have no idea how much it meant to just be thought about. And I just couldn't believe that little old me, Miss Little Nowhere, Maine, you know what I mean? People were thinking about me and looking forward to watching the videos. So it really did inspire me and encourage me to find the time, make it a priority, make myself a priority, and get this done so I could share with you the things that I'm doing to make our large family run, because I'm sure you have your share of struggles and stress and need help in the kitchen, or maybe you just need to feel like you're not so alone in this crazy world. Okay, so now I have all of this stock here from making all of this chicken, so I'm just going to fill it up. You can hear all the bubbles, all the air bubbles. And I'm just going to take a clean chopstick and just kind of stick it down in there, trying to get any air bubbles out. And then you'll notice the water level kind of goes down as you do that. I'm going to add in a bit more broth. Make sure it comes up to that line where it curves. I've already wiped it down with vinegar. Wipe the rim down. And then finger tight. Just finger tight, okay? And the reason I am using this, you can also use water, and you can add salt, but we added garlic salt, so I don't feel like I need to add any more. I don't want to risk it being overly salty. And so I'm going to use all of this broth since we have it, and then we're going to make more with all of the chicken bones and things like that. This is going to be some amazing chicken, I'll tell you that. Okay. Again, finger tight. Make sure those rims are nice and clean. You could cover this with hot water too. The USDA food safety says that any cooked chicken should be covered with liquid, but if you are raw packing, it's going to create enough liquid on its own that you actually don't have to top it with liquid. But I'll have a link down to the food safety guidelines from the USDA in the description so you can check it out for yourself. But that's pretty much what I'm following here, is I'm just doing what they say, and it even says you don't have to add salt. And again, because we seasoned this in the Instant Pot, that's why I don't want it to become very salty. All right, we've got those 4. I've got one more that I need to pack, and then we can start running this through the pressure canner. so this is the next day, and I let them cool overnight. I just turned it off. It was like midnight by the time I was able to go to bed. So I just turned it off, let them cool in there after 90 minutes. And so today I've taken off the rings. You don't want to store your jars with rings on. It just creates rust and moisture can get trapped. So they definitely have some yucks on the outside, so we got to clean that up. But you're going to want to check to make sure everything's sealed properly by taking your fingers and picking up the jar using just that flat lid. Make sure nothing is popping, and then we're going to give them a clean. And so you can use whatever cleaner you have. I'm just taking vinegar because that's what I have right here, and I'm just going to wipe these jars down completely, put them in one of my cardboard boxes on the shelf, and these really should sit undisturbed for 24 hours. I'm down here right next to my canning shelf area, so I'm just going to put them all in the box that I'm going to store them in and put them on the shelf and not touch them. Only thing I'm going to do additionally is put some stickers or labels on the top that says for chicken pot pie or something like that. Okay, this one did not seal properly, so this is just going to go into the fridge. We have a whole bunch of chicken to cook up today that we did not get to yesterday. So I have a bit of a plan. We are not going to can everything like we canned some of the chicken, and we'll see how much we get to it. But I am actually going to do a whole bunch of meals using chicken to kind of show the versatility, and honestly to help me get rid of some of the things that have been in my fridge for way too long. You know, those condiments that like you only use once or twice. Yeah, we're getting rid of some stuff. And meal prepping at the same time. Alright, so let's dig right into the first recipe. Okay, so I still have some cleaning up to do from yesterday. I got most of it cleaned up last night, but still some things to take care of and clean today. But we're just gonna make another mess. So, first thing I'm doing is getting a whole chicken. This one is almost 6 pounds. I'm gonna get this into my Instant Pot. We're gonna start by doing a very basic cooking of this chicken. This one we are just doing salt and pepper, literally all we're doing, and a cup of water down at the bottom. We are going to make this into a buffalo chicken dip. So I just want to cook this chicken very basically and get it done, get it in the freezer. I'm gonna add a couple minutes. We're gonna do 35 minutes since this was a 6-pound, but it's fully thawed. So shouldn't take us too long. And I'm gonna start writing a tally up on our whiteboard so I can remember exactly what it is I'm doing. Next thing I'm doing is making kind of like a marinade, except we're not going to use it as a marinade. But what I am going to do is use up some of these ingredients. So I've got a little bit of barbecue sauce here that we had gotten from a Amish store. Then I've got this jalapeno ketchup. About half the jar left on there. I was going to try and do some chicken in our Traeger smoker, but something is wrong with it and we have not been able to figure out what it is. We've replaced parts and whatnot, so right now it's just a pretty porch ornament pretty much, which is a bummer because smoked chicken is amazing. Okay, then I have this packet of French onion soup mix. And so I'm going to use this as spices. Got 2 pairs of scissors, one that I'm keeping over by the sink to open up the chickens with, and then one to keep for doing this kind of thing. Opening up these dry ingredients. And I'm going to split this between two chickens. So I've got this wood-fired garlic seasoning blend. Got that from Costco. That's really going to be what adds all that great barbecue flavor, since I really didn't have much barbecue sauce. Just looking for brown sugar. I knew I had it somewhere. I'm just going to add in a little bit of sugar just to kind of offset the amount of heat that we have. So I would not even call that a 1/4 of a cup. I'm just going to mix this as best we can. This is going to go under the skin and over the skin on our birds. I've got the oven set to 400 degrees preheating. Let's prep our birds. Okay, so I've got our 2 chickens in a bowl. I've got about a 5-pound one, actually 2 about 5. One is a little bit above, one's a little bit below. So what I've done is I've separated the skin from the breast. And I'm just going to, this is the kind of gross part, but I'm just going to kind of take this mixture that we've made and I'm going to stuff it down, and I'm going to cover the chicken entirely. Okay, so we're going to get that sauce right on the meat as well as on the skin. And this would be amazing if you had time to let it marinate. I just don't have time for that today, so we're just going to do the best we can with what we have. Still gonna be delicious. Doing it in this big bowl helps to contain some of the mess. Also try and make sure that your chickens are as dry as possible. Again, not a huge deal. Okay, and I'm just kind of like patting it because my chicken is a little wet still. So I'm just patting it a little bit to get that sauce to really stick there. We might even be able to do 3 chickens with this barbecue chicken. But don't complain about. Woo. And even though that's jalapeno ketchup, you can use regular ketchup, and with the amount of chicken that this is covering, it's not going to make the chicken hot. Okay, should still be kid friendly, which, you know, I have a whole bunch of children, so making things kid friendly is very important. Okay, it'll just be these 2. It'll just be these 2 chickens, but I'm gonna put as much of this sauce right on top as I can. Some of it is inevitably going to fall off into the soup, but that's okay. Not soup, into the soup pot. But we can make chicken stock from this and make like a barbecued chicken stock, which would be really good to use in something like a chili with baked beans and other inherently barbecued flavors. All right, I know I don't have my red cover down here. Let's see if I can get my husband to bring the red cover down. Because if we can cook these covered in the oven, it's just going to give us a bit more of an even and quicker bake and keep our chicken juicier. So I'll get him to bring that down. Okay, there's the white one. Okay, the next chicken that we're going to do, we are going to do a Parmesan garlic chicken. And so we're using the Buffalo Wild Wings sauce. I've seen people do this with chicken breasts and other things in a crock pot, so we're gonna essentially do the same thing. It's just gonna be the rest of the sauce into a crock pot with a whole chicken, and it's gonna be that simple. It's gonna help us to use this up because it's been in our fridge for quite a while. We haven't really cared for it on much, so we're just gonna use it here.
Myself on the wayside, only takes one look into your eyes and I won't be the same. You light it all ablaze. Wanna give you all my midnights, every high, every low, all of my time. Nothing could make me change until you called my name. You set it all on fire, I'm not the same tonight. I hear you call me higher, you turn my dark to light. Didn't wanna let it go, you just make it easy. So when I'm with you, I know I'm good as gold. You're gonna make me shine, bringing me back to life.
Okay, next we are going to do kind of this fusion Asian Korean chicken, okay, where I'm making this up on the fly. This is exactly why I love being more of an ingredient household and just getting items that I know pair well together. So we're gonna fuse a couple of these together. I have this gochujang paste, and oh my gosh, so good. One of my favorite things ever. Never did I ever think I would like fermented paste. What is this? It's fermented chili paste. It has such a smoky, a vibrant, subtly spicy taste to it. Like, If you've never tried it, go get you some because it is so good. This jar has lasted me a very long time. But today we are using the rest of it up. So I'm going to start by making a mixture. And I'm going to put all of these ingredients into this bowl and then coat our chicken with it just like we did with the barbecue. So I've got that fermented chili paste. Had probably a couple tablespoons of minced garlic. I'm going to add in a little bit of pineapple juice. These pineapples, I've got 2 slow cookers here, and so I'm splitting this between the 2. I'm going to do a can of chunked pineapple with its juice right down at the bottom of both. I've got sesame oil here. We're going to give it a good amount. Generally speaking, I like to over season my meat, especially when it is in a slow cooker, because I feel like most of the time flavors get watered down when they are in a slow cooker. So I want to make sure that my dishes are adequately seasoned. And I'm not talking like more salt and so it tastes salty. I just mean like if you look at something and go, ooh, that looks like a lot of sesame oil, add in a little bit more. Because it is going to get a bit watered down, and when we're dealing with whole birds, it's not going to stay on there, and really the only way to get it to penetrate the meat in the way that you really want it to would be to marinate it for days. What we are doing here is, yes, some of it's going to go on the chicken, and I'm actually going to baste the chicken in this sauce, in this cooking liquid, as it cooks, which will add more time because every time you take off the lid, put it back on, you add about 30 minutes to your cooking time with the slow cooker. But I want to make sure that these chickens get that flavor constantly put over them. Also, this sauce is then going to be great to add over rice. So we can forego any flavored rice, just make a batch of white rice and serve it with this chicken and the sauce is going to flavor the rice. Going to add in some coconut aminos. I'm going to add in a real good amount. I just eyeball everything, guys. Like I really, unless I'm doing something for my website, I cook just by eyeball. I cook by eyeball. I taste it as I can. Like I just kind of go until my ancestors tell me to stop. Okay, mixing that together. It's going to be a very loose liquid. I'm going to add some sugar. So I had sesame oil, coconut aminos, mirin, which is like a rice wine. I'm going to add in a little bit of brown sugar. It's going to help to offset the sour from the pineapple, as well as the salty. Like we have a lot of flavors going on in here. That fermented chili paste is going to have a little bit of heat to it. The fermented chili paste also has kind of that umami flavor, as does the sesame oil. We've got salt from the coconut aminos, we've got sour from the pineapple, and now we've got some sweet from the brown sugar. Okay. So I'm just spreading out these pineapple, and my chicken's gonna sit right on top of it. One chicken. Make sure that you're able to put the top on. Okay, beautiful. Now I'm just gonna take this sauce. I'm gonna continue to kind of whisk it, make sure nothing settles to the bottom. Pour it over the chicken as best you can. So now we're just gonna pop a cover on these, and they're going to cook on low for about 6 to 8 hours. Use an internal thermometer. It's probably gonna be more towards the 8 hours because remember we're going to baste it just to make sure that that flavor is really sinking in. And then if you really wanna get fancy with it, you can at the end move it to a sheet pan and just broil it a little bit, spray it with a little bit of oil, broil it in the oven just to crisp up that skin. Okay, here we go, on to the next one. So the name of the game here is really using up everything that we possibly can. So I have a thing of garlic scapes here from my mom from quite a while ago, honestly, and they need to get used up. So I'm going to pop them into this blender, and they're going to become part of our Mexican-inspired marinade slash sauce. Okay, so now our garlic scapes are all done. Have a little bit of lime juice left in this bottle. That's done. Have one single lime left from something. I have a can here, a 7-ounce can of chipotle peppers in adobo sauce. I'm going to add this entire thing in here. Also going to add in a little bit more lime juice from this bottle. Those adobo peppers are pretty hot, so we definitely want to make sure that we're taming this down. And again, this will go over probably 2 chickens. I am going to add in some honey. If you had agave would be a great addition. I don't think I have any. Pretty sure I used that up at some point. This will be a great taco chicken, and again, reserve these sauces. If you pull out your chicken, take the meat off, put them back in the sauce, stir it all up. That is a great way to flavor your meat, but also even if you were to just serve the chicken as is, like pull it out, you can still jar up that sauce. So then you could, after this cooks, you can reduce that liquid that's left in your crock pot and use it as a sauce over tacos. That would be amazing. Okay, I'm going to put in a decent amount of honey. I'm going to thicken it and sweeten it. If I had some mangoes, I would add mangoes in here. I don't think I do. I don't think I have any frozen mangoes. I've done a mango chipotle one before though, and it was amazing. All right, I am going to blend this up, and then we're gonna coat our chicken and get it in the oven. Alright, so we've got our mixture all done. And I did add half stick of butter just to thicken it up a little bit. Plus it's going to add a rich buttery flavor. It's going to add that crispy texture as it cooks. See if I can get all of this out. I want to use things up, but I don't want to waste anything. My mouth is tingling just from the smell of those adobo peppers. Very similar to how your mouth tingles when you think of like hot sauce or buffalo chicken dip. Just like we did with the other ones, we want to make sure our chicken is relatively dry. And we're going to separate the skin, and we're going to put some of this under the skin onto the meat and cover the meat itself. Also going to oil the bottom of this cast iron just so we don't have any sticky issues.
Wishes on satellites, used to stay up at night, hoping one day that the stars would align. Left a trail of broken hearts, but you were different from the start. How you smiled when you said my name that night.
Okay, so I have made a way in that skin, just like you would a turkey. Okay, so we're just going to, again, take this and smush it down in. Go as far as you can. And I'm just kind of tilting it back and even opening the skin. Okay. And this is going to be a mess. That's totally okay. Part of the fun. Move it back as far as you can. So I'm just stuffing it in there with one hand, using my other hand to kind of comb the top to help push it back. Okay, try and make sure that you're not getting it on the side of the pan. We don't want it to drip out. The original chicken that I wanted to use for this, I must have put it into one of the slow cookers. I wanted a slightly smaller chicken, but that's okay. This is gonna be so good, so good. And again, I'll tell you, use ingredients that already have flavor in them. These adobo peppers are loaded with flavor. That's going to cut down on the amount of ingredients and seasoning you have to add to recipes, saving you money and making it a whole lot easier. Going on the top rack plus on this baking pan, I am going to not cover this with tin foil just yet. We're going to pop it in to the oven at 400 and check on it in like an hour, see how it's doing. Here it is before going into the oven. Okay, so here's a look at what we've got going on so far. This chicken is done in the Instant Pot. So we are going to remove this. We're going to let this particular chicken cool. And then we're going to make buffalo chicken dip out of it. And then while that's cooling, I'm going to get another one in there and get that going. Also, it's been an hour, so now would be a good time to check on our barbecue chicken. So I just need to find an instant read thermometer and give them a poke. Doesn't she look beautiful? That's our barbecue chicken, one of the finished barbecue chickens. The other one looked exactly the same, as you can imagine. And in addition to using up those condiment ingredients in our refrigerator, I also had a bunch of vegetables either in the fridge or in the back of the pantry that had seen better days, past their prime, and I said, you know what, we're gonna go with some traditional chicken. So of course that means it needs to be roasted on a bed of vegetables. That to me just screams Sunday supper, traditional chicken dinner. I love doing that because I really like making a bed of vegetables and then roasting the chicken on top of the vegetables. All of the juice, all of the flavor, all of that good, delicious stuff that you are putting into the chicken then drips onto the vegetables, plus the vegetables getting roasted in the bottom just adds caramelization, and it really develops flavors and the sugars that are naturally present in the vegetables. So it just makes for a really good dish. Plus, usually, I made a mistake here, okay? You need to put some water down in the bottom of the pan, even just like a couple cups would be great. I didn't put any liquid down in the bottom before I tented the chicken. So usually my experience has been that the chicken actually makes quite a bit of juice on its own as it's roasting. Same with like a turkey. However, this time it didn't. Spoiler alert. So I didn't have as much drippings and whatnot at the bottom, but usually I would, and you could make like a really nice gravy, and so you kind of serve those vegetables on the side next to some of that poultry. You can make some gravy to go with it, and it's just a really easy kind of one pot meal when you think about it, right? That's one of our family's go-tos. That's, I guess, well, one of my go-tos as the food provider. That and Instant Pot chicken. Instant Pot chicken is perfect for when you have a busy night, forgot to pull out anything to thaw. I just grab a frozen chicken and I put it in the Instant Pot, and within 35-40 minutes it's done. And usually it's on top of some potatoes and onions down in the Instant Pot, and still we get that same kind of like roasted, not roasted, but I mean that cooked flavor. It's all in the chicken juice. Like, it's pretty much the same meal. It's just whether I cook it in the oven or in the Instant Pot. I guess this is really my go-to meal, and my kids and my husband eat it up. So, I mean, why not, right? So let's make a bunch of it. And plus, it makes for a really good base for stock later when I go to inevitably can the stock and our leftover chicken. Okay, now that I've got our pans situated, all I did was use what leftover type of vegetables that we had. So I had a bag of sweet potatoes that needed to be cooked. I had a bag of regular potatoes, and I split that in half. It's just a 5 or 10 pound bag that you get at the store. And so I kept half of them aside to make some mashed potatoes with, because some of these dishes would be delicious with mashed potatoes. So if I can have some of that frozen that I can just pull, that would be great. That would make for a quick meal. But we're gonna roast 4 chickens in these pans, 2 in each pan, and this batch of vegetables is going to get roasted. And now what you can do after, because I use shredded carrots because that's what I have. So my thought is, after we have dinner with these, for example, I am then going to take all the meat off of each carcass that I can, make stock with the bones, but there's probably going to be some leftover vegetables here. And so what I'm going to do is then take that stock, the leftover chicken, and make like a chicken soup with this. It's going to have, you know, some of these potatoes in it. So kind of like a chicken noodle soup, except we're not having noodles, we're having potatoes. Or like a chicken dumpling, but we're not having dumpling, it's going to have potatoes. See what I mean? Like, we can make a soup out of this. And like I said, my oldest son will hammer that down. His favorite things are chicken pot pie and chicken noodle soup. So we can win his heart with that for sure. Or I could take this stuff and put it into a pie filling. I could put it into a shell, make some pan gravy, and take some of that chicken that's left over after we eat our fill and make some pies with it. There's definitely multiple ways that we can reuse what's here other than just serving it with dinner. And especially since I know some of you are going to be looking at that shredded carrot and go, oh, that's kind of like, how are you going to serve that? And we're gonna serve it and eat it. But then we can repurpose it into other dishes where it might actually make more sense to have things like shredded carrot. Okay, so I've got sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, some celery. I decided to actually keep a bunch of the celery to the side since that's one of my snacks. I'm going to do celery and avocado like my friend Jamarel. It's actually like a delicious thing, so you should try it if you haven't. I thought it was weird, and then I tried it and I was like, oh, it's delicious. Okay, so let's get our chickens on here. I do have a few onions. However, I'm actually going to use the onions in the cavities of the chickens. And so I'm just putting these chickens opposite each other. So one is facing that way, one is facing this way. Same on here. You can fit 2 chickens side by side. These are 5-pound chickens that my parents raised over at Haven Acres, and we buy bulk chickens from them every year. All right, so my mom also gave me basil earlier in the week, and so it's not looking great, but it still is, smells amazing. It still smells amazing. It's still doing all good things. So what I'm going to do, oh, it even has little purple flowers. What I'm going to do, I'm going to remove some of these larger stems. I am going to stuff the chicken. I'm going to spread this out between the 4 of them. Stuff the chicken with basil, and then close up the opening with half of an onion. So that's going to help, kind of like cooking a stuffed turkey. It's going to help it keep it nice and moist. We're going to get all that flavor in there. And then all of that flavor is also going to go into the drippings. It's going to go into the stock later. It's going to be real delicious in all the ways. And I love that this is all farm grown. This is all local to us. You can't get better than this. You can't even buy it like this from the store. You know what I mean? I'm just super grateful to have my parents real close to us, and they share their farm with us. So I'm gonna stuff in the basil as best I can. It's okay if a few pieces fall out. And now I've got my onion here. I'm just going to kind of untie the legs a little bit. Open up this cavity, pop it in as best I can, and then close it back up. Okay, so now that we've got those stuffed, I'm going to make a butter to kind of go inside and around, just as we've been doing with all of the other chickens, just like you do at Thanksgiving. And if you haven't seen my budget Thanksgiving dinner from last year, go check it out and let me know down in the comments if you want me to do another one this year. I think it would be really interesting to see if we could do an entire Thanksgiving dinner for $100 in 2025. So we've got our vegan butter here, so that my son can have this no problem. I'm gonna add in a whole bunch of salt. Remember, this is going over 4 birds. We're going to add in pepper. Add in a bunch of garlic. Now I've got some crushed rosemary, probably a good tablespoon of it. And I've got sage. Do a teaspoon or so of that. I thought I had thyme, but apparently I'm out of it. Story of my life, right? So that's gonna be our butter. All right, here's the messy part. I wish I had gloves. I ordered them and they're just not here yet. So it is what it is. We're just gonna smoosh it all around. This vegan butter melts or softens pretty quickly, so that's helpful. But you just want to mix everything around, get it as nice and combined as you can, and then we'll start stuffing it into the chickens. Okay, it is almost 11:30 here, which means those two barbecue ones came out. Those two barbecue chickens that were on the lower rack have already come out. The next ones are due to come out because it's been about an hour. So, what were those other ones? The chipotle lime ones that are on the top rack should be coming out within the next 15 minutes. So what I'm going to do for these ones is I am going to tent these, and I'm going to cook them just like a chicken, just like a chicken, just like a turkey. So I'm going to tent these and divot the foil on the inside of the pan so that as steam is created during the cooking process, anywhere the foil bends, that's where that liquid is going to go to. So it'll act as a basing for us. It'll help to keep all of the steam and the juices on the inside of the pan instead of on the outside. And that's also going to help to cook our potatoes. All right, I'll show you how I do the tin foil, just in case I didn't explain it well enough. Okay, so I'm coming to the inside of the pan. Okay, things are getting kind of crinkled. We want to have it come right up to that rim, but I have it tucked on the inside of the pan. If you have your tin foil going over the side of the pan, you risk having the steam and juices come out and go into your oven and causing it to smoke and things like that. So I'm going to just like that. So now you can see all around the pan on the inside, it's tucked down in. All right, we're gonna start getting these in the oven. All right, here's that chipotle lime chicken, which probably could have been tented. That's all right. Wings are a little bit burnt, a little crispy up top, but it's all right. It's all right. We don't usually eat the skin, to be honest, so that'll just get peeled off and mixed in.
Wishes on satellites. Used to stay up at night, hoping one day that the stars would align. Left a trail of broken hearts, but you were different from the start. How you smiled when you said my name that night. It's like I dreamed you up inside my head. I thought the picture perfect love was only in frames. Guess I pulled you right from the page into reality. Feels like I'm falling deep into your gravity. 'Cause it's like I dreamed you up. Every layer of your soul is better than the one before. Honestly, you were so unexpected. Even on the darker days, the way you love me lights the way.
Okay, apparently I yapped too much because my video camera died. So All right, I mixed up all of that chicken, 2 things of cream cheese, some ranch dressing, and what else did I put in there? Ranch dressing, blue cheese. Nope, that's it. Ranch dressing, blue cheese. Oh my goodness. 2 things of cream cheese, some ranch dressing, this buffalo dip, this buffalo sauce, the chicken, and then I'm going to top it with some blue cheese because I like blue cheese. I know this is not necessarily the proper way to make it. I cannot make it as good as my mother-in-law ever, even following her recipe. So, but we are all about doing minimal ingredients and getting a whole lot of food made. So, I would like to tell you that this is going to be a freezer meal, but this probably will not last the weekend. It's Saturday right now. This is gonna get eaten. I need to get some chips or celery or something for it. Perfect. There we go. There's the buffalo chicken dip. I'm gonna cover it and wait until the chickens that are in the oven come out, and then I'll toss this in. It really just needs to be heated through to melt the cheese. This is our other chicken that just came out of the Instant Pot as well. I do have a pot here with bones, so I'm gonna let this cool a bit, take the meat off of this, probably put it in jars for canning, and then put the bones and whatnot in this stock pot, and then I'll get this going on the oven after that. So I'm really trying to wait so I can get a thumbnail image for this video, but I don't know that this buffalo chicken dip is going to be able to survive until the slow cooker chickens are done. So here's your shot. Okay, now, thank you for coming with me. I did get some mashed potatoes made. Those will probably get eaten tonight with some of this chicken. I'm going to pull out this bottom one. These should be done by now. They've been in here over an hour, but I'm not gonna turn this off until I check them. Bottom one is likely done before the top. Let's see what they look like. Okay, so it definitely did not make as much juice as I anticipated. Maybe that was my bad. Let's check the internal temp. All right, here's our gorgeous chickens. Definitely needed a little more water down in the bottom of the pan. We're gonna let these rest for a little bit, and then we'll dive into them. Hey, remember I told you we were going to baste these. So that is exactly what I'm doing. Smells delicious. Okay, we are nearing the end of things, thankfully, because my back is already not happy with me after last night and now long day today. I mean, it hasn't been long, but it's long for me. It's long for my back on concrete floors, is what I mean to say. I've got this chicken here that has been cooling, so I'm going to start piecing that off. Okay, let's see if I can get my life in order. I'm going to do the dishes, and then I need to clean some mason jars, because then I need to pick that chicken apart, get the bones in that stock pot, get the chicken meat in the cups so that I can can those Time to do dishes.
When I catch myself on the wayside, only takes one look into your eyes, and I won't be the same. You light it all ablaze. Wanna give you all my midnights, every high, every low, all of my time. Nothing could make me change until you called my name. You set it all on fire. I'm not the same tonight. I hear you call me higher. You turn my dark to light. Didn't wanna let it go, but you just make it easy. So when I'm with you, I know I'm good as gold. You're gonna make me shine, bringing me back to life. Won't give it up this time. I'm like a diamond bright, but when you're by my side, nothing before can compare to how you make me feel so brand new. All my fears and mistakes, you make the past erase. Find a shoulder I can cry on, find somebody to rely on. All of my blue and gray turn into brighter days. You set it all on fire. I'm not the same tonight. I hear you call me higher. You turn my dark to light. Didn't wanna let it go, but you just make it easy. So when I'm with you, I know I'm good as gold.
Okay, so this is all I got from that chicken. I probably could squish it and fit them all into one. I really don't want to can just one jar, so we're gonna have to see if maybe I can pull some others, or it may just wait for the stock. So I've got the 2 chicken carcasses in here that we pulled the meat off of. One went into the buffalo chicken dip and the other one into those jars. So I'm gonna pop this on the stove and just get this simmering. It's gonna simmer 2 to 3 hours, and then I could probably can some of the chicken broth. Okay, I've got it over medium heat to start, and as you can see, I got that pot like right full over all the chicken that's in there. I didn't put anything else in because we've got skin in there, we've got bones, we've got meat, like we've got all the leftover pieces. So there should be plenty of seasoning and fat in there to make a really good stock. And so I've got it over medium. I'm gonna kind of bring it up to about a boil, maybe reduce it to a simmer if it gets going crazy, and just let go for a few hours. All right, friends, here we go. All of our chicken is officially cooked and done, all 13, plus some bonus mashed potatoes. Let's not forget about them. So we have over here our 2 Asian fusion chickens. And then we have 4 Tradwife chickens, you know, your traditional chicken. And then we have our Parmesan garlic chicken. Look how like shiny and pretty she still looks. We've got buffalo chicken dip, winter chicken dinner. And then we have our chipotle lime chicken. No, just kidding. We've got oh my goodness, guys. Yes, okay, so we've got the barbecue chicken here, and then we've got chipotle lime chicken, and then we have canned chicken, and there's broth that is currently being brewed and will be canned. And I think most of this, once it's cooled down, will also end up getting canned, just so we can keep things out of the freezer, just keep things on the shelves for quick and easy grabbing. But my back and my feet are telling me it is time to call it quits for today. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I hope you got some really good ideas on what you can do with whole chickens. There's a whole lot of different flavors and varieties and ways to use this and make it work for your family. So next time you see a whole chicken on sale, don't be afraid to grab a whole bunch, and make sure to reference this video for some recipe ideas and ways to stock up your shelves and your freezers with some yummy, quick, delicious meals. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!